Hello. Hello, everyone. It is 1:11 p.m. right now. We're going to get straight into it. This is a good sign. I wanted to share something pretty big, and I'm not sure if I'll put this on the membership channel. Hi, Denise. How's everyone doing today? If you're joining the live, hello, welcome. So I'm going to wait just a little bit. I want to wait a couple seconds for me to kind of just gather my thoughts, allow more people to join the live because have had, I've been waiting. I've been waiting. Hi, Observer. Hello. I have been waiting for the right moment to share this information. And today is the day. Today is the day that I want to share something very profound and I think something that will be important to understanding in this new shift. And what I'm referring to is the new earth shift. Hold on a second. This microphone thing, there's like a long wire. Okay. This new earth shift that maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't, but we are going into a new shift. Hi, Self Alpha. We're going into a new earth shift right now. And a lot of things are going on. If you haven't noticed, a lot of things are going on in this world right now. And a lot of different things are happening. And I had a dream. This was a couple months ago. And I'm going to explain my dream of what the new earth looks like, what it feels like, and potentially some things. I don't know if I want to share all of it, but I will share. I'll just share my dream. Okay. Hi, YO. Good to see you. Okay. So this dream started off, and I knew that it was showing the new earth. I knew that it was relaying the new aspect of creation. And for those of you guys who don't know, again, I'll repeat this. So basically, there's going to become a time, a lot of Christians would know this as the book of Revelation, where there is a mass awakening, there's a mass shift in the world where people they pass on or they go on to just like a different place. And there's talk about the Antichrist. That's what a lot of people, yes, the rapture. So a lot of people talk about the Antichrist and all of the different things that are happening in this world, how a lot of chaos ensues in order to establish harmony. And that's what we are experiencing right now and in these next couple of years to come. So I kind of want to just talk about my dream and then go. I just feel like this is a really big live for me. And I was debating whether or not I wanted to do a properly edited video. I might do that as well, but I also feel like this live is very important just so that we can kind of feel the energy of like what my dream was saying. Hi 59. Hi. Okay, let's just get into it by now. Okay. So the dream is about me. I was living in Los Angeles at the time. And you guys know me by now. If you don't know me by now, I lucid dream quite often. I can do this on a daily basis if I intend to do it. This was very different than my lucid dreaming because I had the ability to shift in and out of these different realms, and I'll explain that further. But I had the ability to go where I wanted. But I didn't have control over the environment, which usually I'm able to like pick the spot. Hi, Melissa. Hi, R. I'm able to pick the spot and I'm able to kind of like, I'm able to adjust where I want to be. Also, I feel like my phone is ringing. Oh, because it was. Okay. I'm able to kind of like go in and out of states when I lucid dream, but this was very different. I had control over what I said and did, but I didn't have control over my circumstances. Okay. So just bear that in mind. So it felt like a dream, but it wasn't really, yeah, it wasn't lucid. Thank you, R. Okay. So I'm in this dream. I'm in Los Angeles, and specifically, I'm with this person who I'm not going to name. It was a man that we've been friends for many, many years since like high school. And it's very strange that he was in this dream, but he's a musician. And in this dream, I remember a lot of chaos. So I'm outside, I'm with this person, and we're hiding behind a car. And behind this car, there's a lot of things happening. And when I mean a lot of things happening, it's a very dark weather. It's very foggy. It's very glassy, dirty, not glassy, but like lots of glass in the air, lots of like just a storm brewing, right? There was in the distance, there was bombs going down and going down and going down. Like it was just like one after the other, after the other, after the other. And I was placed right in the middle of it. So it was like it had already started, is what I'm trying to say. The whatever the storm was, it was ensuing. It was already there. So my body was like in the rapture time. Okay. It's called the rapture. So I was there. All of the bombs were going down. I wasn't really afraid. And again, the friend was the friend was right next to me. We were crouched behind this car watching everything in the distance bombing down, and we knew that like yeah, that we were soon going to be like not here anymore. The next thing that I saw in the same, because I shifted, right? And I saw a bunch of people. So I had access to both of these realms. And this other realm was glowing. And excuse me, my throat chakra is doing a lot right now. I don't know why I feel so nervous talking about this. So, basically, all the people were glowing, and they had kind of like a ring around them. They had like these auras that were kind of bright, and you could definitely see that they were like golden glowing. And a lot of them were going into going to the gym. Like there was this really fancy gym, and the people there were like very unbothered. They were very peaceful. They were just like, "Hey, what's up?" Like talking to me, and they were able to like scan themselves. They scanned themselves, and then they entered into the gym, and it was like a see-through gym, so you could see everyone who was like on the second level, on the first level. You could see these different tiers of people working out, and they just so happen to be glowing. And so this is where it gets interesting, because you could see the people that were glowing, and you could see the different like people that were unbothered. And then it was like at the same time I could shift into the other realm where it was like very tragic, it was very gloomy, and there was like just a lot of heaviness going on. And it freaked me out. It freaked me out, which is why I've kind of waited until this time to kind of um, sift through the information and get the bits that are important to share for you guys, because there wasn't fear in the environment, in both of the environments that I was in. But I do recognize that there was a lot of chaos in the first realm, and then there was a lot of just unbothered, like we're just living and we've got this aura and we can't really be bothered by anything. So this information was something that I dismissed for a while. It was something that I did not even care to bring up. I didn't write it down in my journal because it was very vivid and I still remember it like it was yesterday. And then a couple weeks ago, I was led to information by Dolores Cannon, which, if you guys don't know, Dolores Cannon she was a hypnotist, and she did this work for many, many years on this planet before she passed away. She would hypnotize people and put them into a very deep level of their subconscious mind, and they would speak. They would speak and they would talk about things that are happening in this earth and like their past lives. And she would just ask them a bunch of questions and they would reveal themselves to her as she's asking these questions, right? So again, I didn't think that this dream meant anything. Well, I knew that it meant something because I lucid dream all the time and they're pretty prophetic. But I didn't think anything that deep of it until I'm listening to Dolores Cannon. I'm putting on my makeup and she describes that her clients, the people that she would put under hypnosis, talked about the new earth. And she talked about this splitting effect that happened where there was a lot of there was a lot of gloom, doom, right? All this stuff, right? Where the energy was just heavier. Okay. It's nothing to fear, which is the first thing that I want to get right off the bat. There's nothing to fear. But the people in the new earth were glowing. So yes, I did lose my mind. Did I cry? Yes. Putting on my makeup and crying because she describes how she's talking to a man and how the man said there's going to be a splitting of the earth and how there's this it's basically if you think of two moons, right? Just think of two moons how they come together, right? And how two moons they split. So that's how the new earth is going to basically occur. This is how the rapture is going to happen. It's going to be a splitting and the people that are higher in consciousness, right? The ones that don't have fear. Those are the ones that are going to be the ones that are following their passion to the best of their ability till they can do it no further with no expectations, which is something that Bashar always talks about. So when we go into this splitting, which I think is happening right now as we speak, um, then those people are glowing. The man is like, yeah, they've got like kind of like a halo effect around them. They're almost like golden, which is what I saw. They're very unbothered. They're very like harmonious. And I just this describing, I'll probably leave a description down in the link of I have to find it. So give me like a couple minutes to post this, but when I was listening back to what Dolores was saying, it was exactly the dream that I had. The splitting of the earths, being in two, it was almost like I was in the afterlife and I was able to view the new earth and the old earth at the same time. So, what that means for me, I don't know. And I'm not going to make any assumptions, but I think that it was very interesting how these earths were behaving. And today I was deciding, I was like, oh, I want to go live. What should I talk about? And I was at the Verizon store. I was at the Verizon store. And while I was waiting, I went on Twitter, which I never typically do. I went on Twitter. I don't go, or X, right? I went on that app and I don't really go on apps anymore, just in general. But when I went on to X, I was reading the information. I was on Elon's page and I got physically sick, guys. Like I almost felt like I wanted to throw up. And I've been feeling so like even the last live, somebody had mentioned how time is moving faster. I think it was Ryan. And I felt the exact same way. I feel like time is moving much quicker and there's very little wiggle room to tolerate these different energies. Like we're very sensitive now. I've noticed, and let me know in the chat if you guys have noticed this too. I'm becoming more sensitive and more unwilling to tolerate certain vibrations. Like I know everything that's happening in this world right now, and I know that there is so much going on, and it's not anything to turn a blind eye to. In fact, it's more important now than ever to remain self-aware and to remain high in your own vibration. But when this happened, when I was scrolling and when I was reading this information and physically getting sick to my stomach, I realized that what we are thinking is real is not necessarily, it is real, but whether or not we want to accept it as true is a different story. And this is what this channel is all about with Athena. I feel even emotional talking about it. What you assume to be true is true. Bottom line. What you assume to be true is true. So it's not a matter of if it's wrong or if it's right. It's a matter of whether you want it to be true. And so, why, yes, if you can go on these pages and you can see what's happening in the world and come to the conclusion that this world is a very um, unpreferable place, then that is the information that you will receive. And you will even notice that there is becoming less wiggle room to experience something outside of your beliefs. Um, Nanette, elaborate your last idea, please. Sorry, I had a lot of different, I said a lot. So just remind me what idea I said, and then I will explain that. And then I will read your message self in just a second. Um, we are, for example, TikTok, for example, Instagram, and even places like X and these social media programs where now it's kind of becoming out of our control to experience the reality or to experience something that is other than our reality. If I talk about consciousness, if I talk about being in a higher vibration, if I'm listening to Abraham Hicks for more than 17 seconds, these algorithms on these platforms are giving me more of that. And now it's become very difficult almost to experience information that is outside of the tailoring that I've customized for myself. I was scrolling on YouTube the other day and I clicked on the tab that said new for you, and the new for you information was still in alignment with how I perceive the world, which it's never been this tailored before, because again, these algorithms are based off of they're based off of profit and how long your attention is maintained on the app. So it's only going to give you information that appeals to you and allows you to stay on it. I want you to really recognize this information because this is also the trajectory of how our realities are shifting. And Bashar, he describes this as kind of like train tracks. So once you see the train and it's moving, it's going to pick up momentum, and eventually it will become a point just like the splitting of the earths, where right now it is splitting. Right now it is splitting, and we get these options, we get these choices, and time is moving much faster for absolutely no reason. It's moving faster and it's splitting more and more. It's not like you can get anything wrong or that we ever make mistakes because we're infinite and eternal beings. However, I just wanted to make aware that we have choices throughout our day. We have these options, and these options can either bring us into more of our preferred reality or into more of a non preferred reality. This is the dream that I had. The dream that I had was therapeutic, revealing, uh, validating once I heard that thousands of people have had this dream before in a very deep state of subconscious hypnosis. I feel very blessed that I was able to have a dream like this to share with you guys, because I know that people experience this, but again, you have to be in a trance like state. And for some reason, I was able to retain all the information, and the feeling that came with it was not to be worried and not to fear, but to know that you have the power and that you have the capability to choose what reality you prefer. Don't let anyone allow you to feel like you cannot um, dictate and control your reality. And what I mean by this is we're all naturally abundant. We all naturally have this inherent will and this inherent desire to produce, to expand, to remain abundant. So um this is just for anyone who is on this channel, who follows me, who maybe even feel like, yes, sometimes it's really this energy is really heavy sometimes. This energy is heavy for a reason, and it needs to happen. It needs to come up. It needs to be exposed in order for the new earth to split. Okay. I will I will answer questions. If you guys have any questions. During 2020, I received a message from Archmichael, and what he said is that the old earth was already dead, a cemetery, and the 5D was already alive, full of light, and the new paradigm free of fear. Exactly. Exactly. And again, these people in the new earth were unbothered. They were like, it was almost weird to have conflict because, like, if I remember correctly, there was like somebody who didn't make it to the new earth, that was next to me. Then they were like trying to get inside of that gym, the clear gym that I was talking about, and it was just like, sorry, like it's just not like you can't get in right now, like it's fine. It wasn't, but so somebody else like walked through them to get into the gym, and they were very unbothered. They were just like, yeah, it just is what it is. And I think we've already experienced shifts like this before when we talk about like the butterfly effect, or when we talk about, what is that, when it's like the Mandela effect. When we talk about things like that, we've already been experiencing shifts like this. I just think that the shift that we're going to experience within these next couple of years, it's going to be more, there's going to be more awareness because there's more people that are living in the 5D that are able to recognize this type of shift. So it'll just be more apparent. He said that those who were very attached to the old earth and want to keep on living on the old paradigm would experience a simulation made for them. Haha, yeah, this one regarding how we perceive our reality. I remember a while back, I left a comment about manifesting a new job, which has been a roller coaster. It's only been a month across the bathroom. There is a door labeled Paradigm Nursing Care. Interesting. Wow. Wait, so did you get a new job? Wait, I think you had commented before, right? If I remember correctly. Let me know, YO. Um, that's all I had to share is the dream. Oh, yay! Congratulations. Congratulations on the new job. That's all I wanted to share in regards to the dream. And yeah, there are so many good things that are happening, just as to the degree of chaos is to the degree, if not 10x or 100 or 1000x, the amount of goodness. There will always and forevermore be more abundance and more well-being in favor than there is the messy or the chaotic. Yeah, that's just the physics of this universe. There will always be more amazingness. And it's actually quite interesting. I got out of the dream and I was like, did I not make it into the new earth? I was like, Jesus. I whipped out my Bible and I'm like, no, why was I able to see both of them? And then I realized that I had the ability to experience through lucid dreaming, but not lucid dreaming because it wasn't lucid, that there's going to be multiple things going on. There are people right now that are experiencing a reality that is very constricted and based on fear. They move in fear. They make decisions based on fear. And then there's going to be people that are like, worry about nothing, pray about everything. And those are the ones that are going to be leaning on God, leaning on infinite intelligence. Those are the ones that are going to be able to impact and influence others and help them realize that there really isn't anything to fear. Everything's going to be okay. Um, God created everything. This is like, let's go back to Genesis. God created everything. Okay. The word was with God, and in the beginning was God. There's nothing made without God. So even the chaos, even the disorganization, all of the things that are feeling really heavy are for us to experience and remember. It's all a tool. This is why I say, even if something is happening that doesn't feel preferred, like, why is this happening in my life? It is a tool to help you remember who you are, everything, all of this. When we experience something like genocide in 2023, when we're experiencing something like that, this is a tool to help us remember that that's not who we are. This is not something that we really need to experience, especially in this day and age. Um, Hello, please, could you explain if manifestation is instant after leaving the void state or if there is a delay bridge of incidents? Okay, this is an exceptional question. Thank you for asking this, Jacob. What I want to make clear about the void state and about manifestations in general is that us as consciousness, we are the fastest thing known to the galaxy, universe. Being a sliver of God, right? We're like a creation. We are God, right? So if God is living in us, then that means that we have this formulaic entitlement to say that we are creations of God, therefore we have God in us, therefore we are God, right? So this is what I think is the most important thing, if not anything, is that oh wait, can you not hear me? Wait, let me know if you can hear me. Let's see. Oh, okay. Okay. You don't scare me there, Ryan. You don't scare me there. Um, when you have a thought, by the time you receive the thought, that means it is available for you to experience. This is trippy. Okay. So just think about that. By the time you have the thought, it was brewing. It was it was manifesting. So a thought is a manifestation. Okay? So let's look at a thought as a manifestation. Then let's look at an emotion as a manifestation, because once you have the thought, you have the idea, you're like, "Whoa, where did that come from?" And then you have the emotion, that's a manifestation as well. So by the time you have these thoughts, it literally is already done. It already exists in a reality. Every single thought that you could think of. Okay. Now, how long it takes you to get there in the physical 3D is dependent on your belief systems. So, how quickly will it allow me to get there? Now, the more that you do this work and the more that you rise in consciousness, AKA rise in love, the easier it will be and the more malleable life, physical reality will be, because you won't the lines will be blurred. Okay. The lines will be blurred. A lot more of the 5D, the spirituality will start to blend in with this reality. So, again, going back to the new earth, once because it's already splitting right now, when it fully splits, there will be a lot more awareness of thought forms, of telepathy. There will be a lot more harmony. There will be a lot less recognition of separation. And I'm saying all of this to you because it is it is absolutely possible to instantly enter the void state and receive the manifestation. This is actually something that I experienced when I found the law of awareness, the law of assumption. I was watching, this was a couple years back now. I had gotten out of a relationship completely heartbroken, which I absolutely adore looking back at. I'm so glad that I dealt with that heartbreak, because I would not be in this situation right now. Um, I went through a very, very dark time in my life where I didn't really know, like, I just questioned everything, right? I questioned everything. And when that happened, I received a video on YouTube by Master Sri Akarshana, which, by the way, thank you to Master Sri Akarshana. It was a video on how to manifest a text message from someone. And at the time, I was watching this and I was like, oh, this seems kind of fun. And I wasn't even thinking about my specific person. I wasn't thinking about the ex. I was just thinking, this looks kind of cool. So there was this girl that I hadn't talked to. She was like an acquaintance, and we didn't talk on a regular basis. And during the video, he was like, just think of someone and close your eyes, see your eyelids, see the darkness. And then he takes you through a meditation, essentially, where you see the phone in your hand, you see the text message, you evoke the emotion of that text message. And as I was doing it, the person texted me as I was doing it. So it can happen as quickly as you think it. Another thing that blew my mind, really, I was listening to Abraham Hicks the other day, and they were explaining how you don't even, based off of your belief systems and how much you practice this information, you can manifest things. You can manifest the numbers in your bank account on demand. So imagine you're just meditating and thinking of a number that you want in your bank account, and then it happens. Now, some people would call this woo woo, people that haven't experienced anything else. But tell me why the other day, oh, yesterday actually, I was, I had done a job last week and I did that for a couple of days. I did a job and I reached out to the girl and I said, hey, just wanted an update for the payment. And she told me November 7th, right? She told me November 7th. And I said, okay, cool. And then I repeated in my head, God is my immediate infinite supply. God is always on time. God always provides for me. Um, I am money and God is love and I am love and love is everything, including money. And I let it go. I started cleaning out my trunk and I received that payment in my account via Zelle. So literally, like, I don't even know how much time passed. It was probably like, I don't know, like 5 or 10 minutes or maybe longer. I don't know because I was so sure. I was so sure. So examples of that where you see the money in your bank account, you allow yourself to trust that things are always working out for you. And when you actually fully trust in the statement that things are working out for you, they just do. Like they do every time. It's stunning. It's stunning. I just started reading the Bible a few weeks ago. I have a prayer journal. I love reading the Bible. It is so good. It has been altered, which is something to recognize, but it is very good. And the fact that it's been altered the way that it has and it still remains true, it still remains valid, and you can always get a word from it. You can always get a word. So yeah, there are there are many different ways to instantly manifest in I said that weird. Instantly manifest in the void state. And instead of focusing in on the delay, focus in on the preparation. Because one thing to remind yourself is that God's not going to give you anything you can't handle, ever. Every single time that something happens to you, the good, the bad, and the neutral, anything that happens to you is because you are able to handle it. You are ready for that level. You are ready to take on that task. You are ready to take on that journey. You are so powerful that you choose the lessons. You're the teacher and the lesson. So again, like when you make a mistake or when you like create these experiences for yourself, that's on a subconscious and a very soul level. You are creating things for you to experience. Okay. And We can see this in a very empowering way because we get to choose. We get to choose. Um, Caring more about how you feel is the name of the game. That's the name of the game. If you decide, I care how I feel, and I'm going to trust that no matter what experience I'm going through, it is leading for my benefit. It's going to get you whatever you want. And I feel like, especially when it comes to delays, and it gets kind of clickbaity. I recognize when there's like videos of how to manifest instantly and how to manifest. You are manifesting right now as we speak, and you are a master at it. So there really isn't, this delay that we're talking about is quite short, and it's becoming shorter and shorter because you are, as consciousness, faster than the speed of light. This is just, this is basic physics. This is like what the scientists are now recognizing, even though the Bible has been saying this for a really long time. Um, with this delay, it's more about getting yourself ready for the opportunity because it is done. If I were to tell you, going back to the pregnancy example that Neville describes, if you take a pregnancy test and you find out that you're pregnant, then you're pregnant. There's no maybe I'm pregnant. It's like you're pregnant. How are you preparing for it? How are you going to prepare for the baby? Um, you're probably going to stop doing things, right? You're probably going to stop doing things that aren't beneficial to your body. You might start doing things. You might start taking prenatal vitamins. You might start taking on a new hobby or exercise routine. You might create space for the baby, prepare for the baby. Most people, well, not you guys, not anybody who watches this channel, but I'm pretty much preaching to the choir, but most people, right, they might see a manifestation or they might see a goal as like, oh, that's nice to have, like, but I'm just going to sit here and not do anything. I'm going to try to manifest it, or I'm going to try to be woo woo. But the whole point is to prepare yourself emotionally. I'm preparing myself emotionally. And when I prepare myself emotionally for the manifestation, I will naturally do things that are in alignment with that thing. That's why it's not a trying process. All of the work that you're doing is preparing yourself emotionally to receive the thought form that is already done. You're shifting into a reality that already exists. The only word that we have in the English language is create. So you create your own reality, but you're not really creating it. It's just a play on words. You're revealing it. You're revealing an aspect of life that already exists, which is why I keep saying that this earth, this splitting earth it's already happening. It's just going to become more apparent when um, when a very drastic mm, when there's a mass consciousness, right? There's going to be a very distinct experience. So think of like COVID, right? That massively impacted everyone. It wasn't just one society. So there's going to be a mass distinct experience that will really determine these different this splitting that I keep referring to that was mentioned in my dream. The Bible has so many nuggets of wisdom, especially in Proverbs. Love Proverbs. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah. And going back to um, how the Bible was altered, um, we have to look at why it was, right? Because there needs to be, well, there doesn't have to be, but there needs to be, based off of the consciousness that was created during those times, there needs to be separation, right? We have different religions to separate us, and not that separation is bad. Because imagine, I think about this all the time, guys. Now we're really getting into my thoughts right now. I think about this all the time. I'm like, if everybody was just walking around looking like me and I couldn't tell myself apart from anyone else, it would be quite boring. So the diversity is actually part of the game. It's part of what we want to experience on a soul level. It's like what we all agreed on. We were like, okay, maybe we didn't know it was going to be this crazy. I will say that. Maybe we got down on here and we were like, oh, this is a little rough. But I digress. We still, on a very intuitive, infinite intelligence level, know that diversity is necessary in order for us to remember who we are. Hi, Denise. Hi, Crystal. Hey. Hi, Sofu. And it feels really good to say that too. Like it feels really good to say that we're all offering different perspectives and we're all different crystallizations of God. What? 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 It's exciting. Like it's just a really exciting time to be alive. And in the same scope, it can also be a very, very heavy time to be alive. I also really love the book of James. I'm gonna have to read that because I haven't read that in a while. Yes. Yeah. Really love all of them. You can always find something that is beneficial in whatever. Honestly, like the best thing to do if you're going through something and you need advice is to intend, just like, just intend to receive the message that you need to receive and close the Bible and then just like skim through it, right? And then point on whatever page you flip through, point on it, and then just start reading it. Would you be open to sharing a video of scriptures you recommend to strengthen ourselves in our belief of our God-given power or anything similar? Yes. Let me look at my vision board. Second Chronicles 15:7. This isn't the full verse, but it says blank, 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 be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded. That's Second Chronicles 15:7. I also have Romans 8:31, which is, if God is for me, who can be against me? I mean, that sums it up right there. I don't like, what else do you need? I don't have I don't have the scripture, but I have, well, I have the scripture, but I don't have where exactly it is in the Bible, but I'm sure you guys, this is like a popular one too. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. That slaps. Oh my God. That slaps. Yeah, and then what else? I'm trying to think of something. Oh, love. Love is love is patient, love is kind. Love does not boast, it's not envious. It does not hold records of wrongdoing. Mm. Guys, that's about to get me too hype. I'll get too hype. Hey, Ray. Hey. How are you? Yeah, there are so many. I love Mark 11:22-24. Okay, go ahead and share it, Ryan. Don't hold back. Don't hold back. I think that it's just so like I grew up in a way where you know, there is a lot of beauty and there's like a lot of, depending on how you view religion, right? Some people have their God means something to everyone. Like the way that I view God is going to be different than how some people view God. Oh, girl, Ray. Ray. I love calling you out too. Period. I hope you're doing well. Um, can't be too hype. Right, exactly. Okay, therefore, oh, I love this one. I love this one, right? Okay, let me say it out loud. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. And it is as simple as that. Mm. It's not Sunday, y'all. It's Wednesday, November 1st. It's about to be church up in here. I love it. I literally love it. Hello, may I kindly ask you how you would describe the void state? Sure. Okay. So, okay, I'm not gonna try to pronounce the first part, but it's reset Claire. So nice. Okay, the void state is simply a state of being that is everything and nothing at the same time, and you can accomplish that um, by disassociating with your senses, with your 3D senses, and then bringing them internally. So, for example, when you lie down, that groggy, foggy state that you're in right before you go to bed, that's a time where you can easily access the state. You close your eyes and you begin to feel your body and become very present of what's happening. So, as I'm talking right now, I am not focused on my heartbeat. I'm not focused on the blood pumping through my veins. I'm not focused on how many times I'm blinking. I'm not thinking about how my lips are moving. There's so many autonomous things happening right now. And when you get into that foggy, groggy state, you become aware of all of these internal functions. Now, what happens when you become aware of your present being is that you will go into a state that is formless. This is what Neville Goddard talks about, Joe Dispenza has talked about. Even when we get into the works of Dolores Cannon, you get into a very relaxed state. When you are relaxed, you allow your vibration to rise naturally because you are naturally a very high vibe creation, like very, very high vibe. When you go to sleep, you are so high vibe, right? We don't think about this on a day to day basis, but we have to sleep 8 hours a day. And we are so high vibe that we need to sleep in order to survive because when we go to sleep, we are present with the Lord. Absent from the body means that you're present with the Lord. That is scripture. So you're so high vibe that your subconscious mind is wide awake when you go to sleep and you're like, you're restoring yourself essentially. This is why this is why you should never go to sleep angry, ever. This is scripture. Neville Goddard stresses this quite a bit. I will continue as long as I have breath to say never to go to sleep angry because when you do that, the state that you are in right before you fall asleep is the state that creates for 8 hours. Um, so now here's what's interesting. Here's what's interesting. Okay. So focus in on this. Um, the state that you reside in before you go to sleep, that's what carries the momentum, right? So if you are feeling really sad or you feel angry, heartbroken, and you notice that you fall asleep in that state, when you wake up the next morning, it doesn't take very long for you to get back into that state or feel heartbroken, feel angry, right? So usually if to get out ahead of it, when you're in that groggy, foggy state, you can switch your perspective and try just by even a little bit to shift the way that you feel emotionally with different thought forms. And that will actually carry momentum. And if you do that each night, Neville Goddard talks about 3 days. If you do this for even 3 days to shift your vibration even just a little bit, then then you can effectively change your reality in the upcoming days. Now, what's really interesting about this that I want to be careful and clear about is that when you're asleep, you don't have any focus. You're not conscious. So that's why doing this work before you go to bed is very important because now you're the creator of your own reality. Now you get to control things. You're like, okay, this the only way to really create consciously and deliberately is to have that focus, right? We want to focus. We want to know that we're creators of our own reality. So if you decide that I'm going to shift my state a little bit before I go to bed, then that's what carries momentum. And by the time you fall asleep and you don't have focus, you're already in another realm. Your vibration is already very high. It's not like you need to be um, high in vibration or like have really anything on while you sleep because you're already at your highest vibration. And let me know if that makes sense to you guys. Um, I've tested this. I've tested it many different times, and I find that I'm more effective right before I go to sleep. You can listen to things while you're sleeping, but I'm just letting you know that usually you don't need to do that because what's really important is the momentum that you're creating in your conscious your focus, okay? Okay, I need to get caught up with the comments. I also love the scripture about love conquering everything because right after it talks about faith and hope, but love is above faith. Literally sends chills to me. I love that. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Did I miss the whole dream thing? Yeah, I was talking about my dream. It was a prophetic dream about the new earth and how they shifted. And again, to anybody who's joining, in the dream, there were different earths splitting, and I got to see the the old earth, and then I got to see the new earth and the people in the new earth and the people in the old earth. So yeah. Um, it will need to get worse before it gets better. But it is up to us. It is really based on the consciousness. It is not anything to fear. It is up to each individual person. It's up to the individual, um, how they want to experience their life and how they want to perceive it. Oh, I want to hear your dreams too, Ray. That sounds amazing. Yeah, I think, and that's another thing. I think that we're all like, like I had this dream, and I know that other people had this dream. That's the only reason why I'm talking about it because I'm telling you, when I heard the message that Dolores Cannon gave, she said, she was like, I was I was talking in front of an audience, and then a guy, he stood up and he told me this story about how there's people that are glowing and the new earth is glowing. I lost my mind. I lost my mind. I'm like, that's what I saw. No kidding, right? No kidding. And I'm like, tell me more. Tell me more. Because I freaked out. I freaked out and I'm like, this is the rapture. I knew that it was the rapture when I was dreaming it, but I didn't tell anyone. And then I heard and then I heard that from Dolores Cannon, like speaking about what exactly I dreamed. I freaked out. I went over to my parents. I'm like, it's the rapture. I had the dream and it's the rapture, and I need to explain to y'all what's gonna happen. And they're like, yeah, yeah. And my parents are they're spiritual. They already know. I mean, they're Christians. They taught me the word, right? So, um, yeah, they were like, worry about nothing, pray about everything. That's all. That's what are you gonna do about it? Now that you know, what are you gonna do about it? All you can do is live in your truth. Live in your truth and lead by example. Hope to lead by example. Ooh, oh, okay, Brian. I also like Galatians 6:7. You sow what you reap. So put out good vibes into the world and you get back good vibes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know what I find very interesting is how, excuse me, like people that are that have like a mass platform, people that have mass platform, it's always so interesting to see that even like the more attention, the more awareness that somebody has or like spotlight that somebody has on them, um, the quicker, the quicker and the easier it is for someone to like slip up or like if their vibration is slightly changed in a way or like slightly altered, then it makes such a big difference. Um, that's like a very obvious, like you can obviously see that. And then there's people like Abdullah, who I just love talking about because Abdullah was not somebody that was in the press. Like he wasn't like he wasn't somebody that was like a Gandhi or anything like that, right? Like he's a mystical Ethiopian Jew. So we hardly have information. You got to dig. You got to dig to find his information. But look at how massive his impact was. Like, whoa. And to think of someone even like me who doesn't have like a huge platform, right? I like my platform, okay? I like it this way. Okay, we manifest deliberately here. Okay, so like we feel good about this. But to think of somebody like me who doesn't have millions of followers, right? But even if I were to say one thing and it like leads somebody else to become the next Neville Goddard, like what? I would be honored. I would be honored. Second Timothy 1:7, for God has not given me the it cut off. It cut off. But I want to see the full thing. Um, thank you very much for your response. I love your energy. I love your channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. I think I think it's very powerful to listen to others' experiences on ascension and new earth because it's so empowering to see that we are perceiving the same process exactly. I mean, I don't even think I would have shared this information had I not cried and been so emotionally riled up from the session that I heard from Dolores Cannon. I probably wouldn't have shared this information because I'm like, well, I receive dreams all the time and I lucid dream almost every day. So I really just take the information and I use it to fuel the content that I create, but I never really like go too into depth. Um, but yeah, that was like undeniable. We're going to live life to the fullest from here on out, knowing that we never really die. We just transform our hearts. Yes. Oh, and another thing that Dolores Cannon she was talking about is that there was many different um, experiences that we will have if, let's say, we want to like come back and do it again or like learn the same thing over again. Which I'm trying to learn everything right now, y'all. I'm not. I just want to learn everything. I think it would be so cool to be in like Bashar's world. Good, a little it would definitely be more boring. There wouldn't be as much like do it for the plot moments, but how interesting, right? I also think that Athena would be my Bashar. I think I've already like semi accessed it. I don't access it all the time, but like even right now, it's been 57 minutes and it feels like 5 minutes has passed by. So I do feel that whenever I'm live, I am channeling whatever it could be Athena, it could be something else, but that's what I've identified it as. But yeah, I'm gonna have to hold on a second. Second Timothy 1:7. I'll do it myself. Let's see. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So that is the scripture verse from what I was saying from my vision board. So on my vision board it says for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. That's Second Timothy 1 chapter 1 verse 7. Yes. Thank you. Okay, and Matthew 7, 1 through 2 is do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Got to pause on that one. I got to pause on that one. Got to pet Willow on that one. That's a good one. Isn't she so pretty? She's just a kitty. All right. Well, I think that's all I've got for today. Unless you guys have a question. Do we have any questions? Do we have any thoughts? What are our thoughts? Um, I feel like, I feel like it's all gonna be good, guys. It's all gonna be really good. God told me to always think several times before you do or say something in my dream. It's very potent, very potent. And I was thinking about this the other day, which might help anyone regarding a specific person or um, mainly specific person, but it can be applied to other things. Resentment is something that only affects ourselves. So whatever the person is going through, resentment is only something that you carry as a burden. And I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, you can only hurting people hurt people, right? So you can only experience things from the state of consciousness that you're at. And what was so interesting about this is that usually when you're really happy, you want others to thrive. And it just I don't know why. It put down for me at least, it put down a lot of walls of feeling resentful or feeling like I need to hold on to the past. Because if you imagine, stay with me here, if you imagine yourself or you ask yourself a question such as, what is the highest version of myself doing? Or what is this version of myself who's living their fullest life? How are they thinking, feeling, and acting? You'll realize that every situation that you look back on, if you actually are living your best life, will be a blessing. Everything. Because again, you need contrast in order to remember who you are. You need to forget in order to remember. So, any of the past experiences that I've had with like specific people and where I felt like I really needed to like hold on to the bad times, I started thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, but if I was with my husband or if I was like completely healed from that, I wouldn't feel this way. I would feel I would be blessing them. I would be blessing everyone because again, only hurting people hurt people and only loving people love people and you don't have to seek something that you are. So then I was like, I literally don't like it became so much easier to forgive. It became so much easier to see people through God's eyes, which is perfection, by the way. Like God only sees perfection. Um, I I just find it to be very therapeutic and releasing when you start to love yourself because when you love yourself, then you are effectively loving others when you love yourself. It's not just changing you. Um, Again, hurting people only hurt people. So if you're hurting, then you can allow that to influence others that are on the same vibration. But let's put it in the other spectrum. If you are loving, then you actually have more influence vibrationally and on a quantum physics level to impact millions. One person that is connected to source is more powerful than millions who are not. So if I'm just walking around in love, if 9,000 people are walking around in love, then you have the ability to shift the earth and shift the trajectory. It's so awesome to think about. What do you think about when they say don't talk about your manifestations, yet all some people do is talk about predictions and manifest them? This is a great question. Um, it's whatever you prefer. It's whatever you prefer. And the reason why I say that is because I've tried both. I've done both. And if I assume that it's going to happen either way, mm, again, if God is for me, who can be against me? Romans 8:31. If it's like one of those situations where it's going to happen no matter what, then it won't feel bothersome, but I will say that it is based off of your belief systems. So I can say a verse like that and be cool. Like I can do like a little what's his name? Tom Zendaya's boyfriend? What's his name? Holland. I can do like a Tom Holland and go in front of an interviewer and then be like, "Oh, what do you want to do?" And he's like, "Oh, I want to be Spider-Man." and he's not Spider-Man yet, but then a couple years later he does a movie for Spider-Man. You know what I mean? So I can be on that. I can be on that energy and speak out into existence what I want. But then there's also another aspect where when you are creating a movie or when you're directing a movie, you don't just automatically announce the release date because things happen. There's different things that need to unfold. So it's just about using your discernment. And usually, if you talk about something, it changes the trajectory. So it really just depends on how you feel and what your belief systems are telling you to do instinctively. If you and especially when you realize that everyone is you pushed out, if I'm thinking to myself that I'm not capable of receiving this manifestation, then maybe I should just keep it to myself and go into my closet, be still, and know that I am. That would be the best thing for me. You have to feel it intuitively because some things I'm like, I'm like, hey, here's my Amazon wish list. I would like this, this, and that. Or sometimes I'm like, you know what? I actually want this to come in a surprising way. I want God to show me something very, very fun or very like in a cool way. And so I'll just keep it to myself. Opinion on robotic affirmations are that's a good question. Um, I don't think anyone's a robot, to clarify. I don't think anyone's a robot. And I know that energy doesn't lie. It does not lie. Okay. One of the biggest learning lessons from Neville Goddard is that an assumption, if persisted in, will harden into fact, right? But let's look at what it means to actually assume something. Okay. Because if I assume that everybody loves me and that the universe is friendly, if I actually assume that, then my behavior, the way that I talk, act, feel, it's going to be different. It's not going to even require a lot of convincing, robotic affirmations, if you will. It's not going to require a lot of that. However, however, robotic affirmations will help you create a pattern. And your brain loves a pattern. It loves to sustain itself. Okay. The entire point of us like waking up, doing the whole shebang, the whole earth life thing, right? Your brain is created for you to sustain yourself. It wants to do everything in its power to keep you in this reality, keep you in this realm. And that means that if you have certain beliefs, then getting yourself on board with another belief, once you understand, okay, this belief doesn't make any more sense to me anymore. I actually don't prefer this. And you start to input, kind of like a computer system, and you start to input a new thought form, a new way of being, then that's what it needs to be. It needs to be a lifestyle. It needs to be a new way of being, a new way of assuming and operating. Um, I've noticed, and this is the only way that I could see it not working, is if somebody is trying to say affirmations and say them robotically without actually adapting it into their lifestyle and making it an assumption. If it's not a genuine assumption, then it kind of falls by the wayside. Perfect example. Perfect example. If let's say you're like dating someone, okay? Let's make this a little fun. Let's say you're dating someone and they're like, I'll call you boo boo. I'll call you, I'll text you. Or like you have a friend and they're like, oh yeah, let's hang out, let's hang out. But then they never do. Okay. Words are words. Okay. And they do hold life and death. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. but your energy, this is what I'm talking about. Your energy does not lie. So let's say the guy or the girl, they're like, oh yeah, I'll call you, I'll text you, but they have no intentions. They actually aren't like, they don't embody that, then it's vain. It's vain. But let's say the person is like very disciplined. They're like that type of person. They're that type of man. They're that type of woman. When they say something, even if they say it once, they're going to do it. Like my dad is like that. If he says that he's going to do something, he does it. He's not like, he's very reliant. You can like always, you can just count on him. If he says that he's going to do something, he's going to do it. Now, there are some people that when they say something, you're like, you're like, I don't know. This is all the difference. I know that I'm really taking my time explaining this. It is all the difference. Because again, there's one that's a robot just saying things to say things. And then there's another way of not being a robot, being somebody that has a very solid foundation and belief system where they get it done. They say it once and it's done. Like we're not playing around. If I say it, then it's done. Like Jesus wasn't going around being like sorry, I just like got a mental vision. Jesus wasn't going around being like, you are healed, you are healed, you are like over and over again. Jesus wasn't going around being like, water into wine, water, turn it into wine, like wine. No, there was there was a belief system. There was a certain practice, a certain discipline that Jesus had where he was humble, he was quiet, he was still, he prayed effectively, and he more than like probably just said it once or just said it's done. And based off of his belief system. Now, this is where I want to explain again that belief systems, especially if you've had a long-standing belief system, then there needs to be repetition, right? It's kind of like building a muscle. But when you know that the foundation being, this is why self-concept is very important. The foundation being that you are infinite intelligence is running through you, and your emotional system, your guidance system, that is your emotions. So if you're like following that, right, and you're praying effectively, and you know who you are to be true, then it doesn't take that much convincing. I trust that this makes sense. Focus in on the self concept, and even something like the scripture that we've been talking about today will help you get into this state of knowing. Because I do get questions like this a lot, like how do I know? How do I actually believe in myself? How do I believe in myself? And it starts with, the only way that it starts with is just educating yourself. You have to, knowledge is power. So if you educate yourself and allow yourself to receive this information and be willing to suspend your disbelief for even a couple seconds, then you'll allow the floodgates of heaven to enter your realm. And I've done this before. I mean, you just sit there, you just sit there, and then you become formless, and then you allow to receive, you receive things like a signal, and then you start to realize naturally that what you are is not fear, what you are is not anger. This is all very natural. You're not adding things. You don't need to add things. If anything, you need to release. So I think that robotic affirmations, depending on what they are and depending on what state of consciousness they bring you into, makes all the difference. Makes all the difference. Something like, God is my supply and always provides and is always on time and has never led me astray. God will never leave nor forsake me. I would have that on repeat. I would have that on repeat. That is very base, fundamental self-concept work. If God is for me, then who is against me? Nobody. I get what I want. Like that, sure. Let's robotically affirm that. And then if you robotically. But if you are like trying to convince yourself that um, of something specific, right? Something specific, and you need it to happen because if it doesn't happen, then you're not who you say you are. That's that's what creates this climate. It's like this, you feel it in your body. It's anxious. It's not giving you what you need. It's unsatisfactory. And you can always manifest neutral, bad, good. So I'm not saying that it doesn't work. I'm just saying that, how do you want to feel? How do you want to feel when you say the things that you're saying in your mind? Oh, Ray. Dang, I'm gonna have to rewatch this because my service sucks right now. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Hopefully, it's not mine either. Hopefully, it's not my connection, because it has been a little bit wonky lately. Thank you for clearing this up. I've been on my self-concept bag. There were some people on Twitter preaching how robotic affirmations work works without feelings faster with success. That confused me. The reason why they're saying that is because you are manifesting all the time. You are manifesting all the time. And you can manifest. Here's another thing. Here's another thing. You can manifest all the time. Okay? All the time. Good, bad, and neutral. So if you are putting attention to something, if you persist in it, it will harden into fact. But here's the biggest difference. Here's the biggest difference is that when you rise in consciousness, it's easier for you to say something once and get it. This is where we start talking about instant manifestations, is because the resistance isn't there. You're not sludging through something. You're not sludging through something. If you allow yourself 15 minutes to just stop your thoughts, just like clear your thoughts, clear your mind, you naturally rise in consciousness. And when you naturally rise in consciousness, you have not only less thoughts, but the thoughts that you have are in vibration with the frequency that you're on. So let's say I meditate, I do 15 minutes, I get into the voice state, and I'm like, okay, feeling really good. And then I have one idea, I have one thought to to go to the store. And then when I go to the store, then I meet somebody who gives me the next piece of the puzzle that I need in order to manifest what I want. Like, it happens much quicker. It happens more effortlessly. Not saying that you can't not saying that you can't manifest the bad, the neutral, whatever. It's just the rate of how fast you manifest it. So I mean, try it all. Try it all. It's not that it needs to be robotic affirmations and or sats and or scripting and or meditation. I speak off of personal examples. I like to read. I like to feel like there is something flowing through me, which I call God. Other people call it different things, but I like to feel as though God is speaking through me, and that I'm a channel, and that I'm preparing myself as a vessel to receive the information that is seamlessly in alignment with the things that bring me joy, peace, and love. And if I feel inspired to do something like repeat a thought over and over and over again, I would do that because it makes me feel good. I wouldn't do that to get somewhere. I would do that because, for the sake of how it's making me feel. The sake of saying, trust in the process. I trust that everything is working out for me. I trust that I'm taken care of. I trust that God is for me. God is running through me. I'm protected. I'm a child of God. To say something like that is really therapeutic. It's just like really nice. So yes, I would say that pretty often. How did you get past how did you get past the manifesting is new age coming from very old school Christian upbringing? This is a really good question, Nicole. When Okay, so when I started reading Neville Goddard, I felt like a veil had been lifted. And this veil did not make me feel like the information was new. And I actually wrote something down in my notes that I want to share with you guys. Somebody said it. Um, they said it, I think this was on TikTok. Okay. Are you guys ready for this? This is like, as if this live didn't already start off pretty deep and heavy. Um, Somebody said on TikTok, which resonated with me so much, they said, history does not start the moment you start paying attention to it. Jesus. Okay, let me repeat that one more time. History does not start the moment you start paying attention to it. And to me, that means that just because someone somewhere out there has decided that this information that we've now received in the Western world is new age does not actually make it new age. It makes it whatever they want it to be. Who writes history? The victor, right? We're now seeing that a lot of things have been altered, have been created, have been manipulated to serve us in whatever form they need to. Okay. Whether it's right or wrong, we don't need to go down that road. But I will say this, that when you receive information that is contrary to your beliefs, you either have the option to accept it or deny it, right? Or just, it's not that you need to deny it or resist it, but you just accept it or you don't accept it, right? We do this all throughout our day. There are things that we want to receive and things that we don't. When I started reading Neville, the intensity and the experience of understanding and resonance that I received while reading this information was stronger than, through testing, by the way, it was stronger than the information that I received, or some of the information, because it's not like it was everything that I grew up with was invalid. In fact, a lot of it was valid. But it was the way that I perceived the information in a new way that resonated more. The momentum was much stronger than maybe some of the concepts and beliefs that I picked up from the past. So, for example, and this is such a good question. Like, really, this is such a good question because I do see that there are people that are calling this new age and making it seem like it's like if you're a Christian, then you can't like you can't even participate in traditional like Western religions, right? Like I grew up non-denominational, right? But I also went to a university that was Church of Christ. I've also been in a Catholic church. I spent a year in Florence, Italy, where it was mainly Catholicism. So what exactly is the biggest difference, right? It's just the way that we perceive the information. And a lot of Christians don't understand that there's a vast, a vast a vast amount of information within Christianity. Like people don't know that there's over 40,000 different denominations. Did you guys know that? Like that's wild to me. When I found out that information, I was like, "Oh." So there's over 40,000 different denominations within Christianity. And whether you're Orthodox, whether you're Church of Christ, whether you're there's like epistle, there's so many. There are so many, and all of them have their different cultural standpoints. So even Neville Goddard's information is considered esoteric Christianity when the person that he learned it from understood. Okay. He knew many different languages, but he fully understood the symbolism and the context of the original translation of the Bible. This is big. And this is why I don't subscribe to whoever, I don't know who these people are. I don't know who is on Google saying this stuff, but they say, "Oh, new age." Just because we don't understand it or just because we just found out about it. It's like kind of looking at the pyramid and being like, "Oh, this is new." Even though it's been there for a really long time, even though we don't understand it, even though we do. We now know how the pyramids were created, but it's kind of like that. That's the best analogy that I can think of. It's like just because it's new to us doesn't mean that it's actually new. It just means that it's been exposed in a different way. So yeah, my biggest advice for information like this is to take the information that resonates and leave what doesn't. Because I absolutely love religion and I love all the different facets, even the boundaries, even the calling for love, the calling for people to live in harmony, the calling for people to love their neighbor, love their neighbors as thyself. All of these different, you know, these foundations aren't something to invalidate. And every single religion has their purpose to serve the state of consciousness that the creator is living in. I think it's all valid. Um, and I know that there are many different beliefs within Christianity about that too, because they say, if you don't preach something that is in alignment with that, then you're doing a disservice, which is, I think, where a lot of that maybe misconception comes from. It's like, oh, if like the whole false prophet thing. That is that's something I think about, like the Roman Empire. That's my Roman Empire, guys. I'm like, who is the false prophet? Is it like the people preaching in Western days, or is it, you know what I mean? Like, what is actually? Do I want to take advice from the person who understood the original context of the Bible in its symbolic form, or do I want to listen to what I was brought up in, my belief systems? You get the choice. You get the choice. And I don't think any one of them are invalid. I think what you assume to be true, if persisted in, will harden into fact. It's stunning. I just love it. I just love it. One, to get what we want, and two, to enjoy it when we get it. Only the wisest have the second part down. Yeah, we're all living in a thought form that we thought previously. Okay. Hey, Melissa. Hey, girl. SP never truly left, just hot cold. Okay. Hmm. So I started dating a different guy. Although things didn't work out, I still feel for SP, but also feel like why should I care slash have to effort for SP to act right? Okay, Melissa. Hey, girl. Um, this sounds this sounds to me like a self-concept thing. Have we been doubling down on our self-concept? Do we know that we're everything? Do we know that we are so beautiful, intelligent, and the priority? Double down, Melissa. You already know this. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. You already know this. Like, yes. You know what's so interesting is that, like, especially when I'm working with clients and then I give them self-concept, then they're kind of just like, oh, okay. Not you, Melissa. Not you. I'm not talking about you. Okay. But I'm talking about like some I'm just thinking of like a couple where I would give them self-concept and then they're like, oh, like I just don't know if I really want I want to skip to the part where they like are, coming towards me, all this stuff. But it is like even if you skip to that part and you're like, "Okay, let me focus on this person coming towards me," they come towards you for, like, not even a good amount of time. It's, like, not sustainable the way that we want things to do. It's like you can't just go from A to Z. You have to go through the self-concept because the self-concept is the foundation, and think of it like this. If you create a self-concept for yourself that is strong, you are creating the self concept for the other person. So don't even look at it as like, oh, I don't want to think about, like, I just want to think about them, or I just want to like focus in on how they treat me. But if you say, going back to what I said earlier, like hurting people hurt people, loving people love people, when you change your self concept and become that which you seek, then you effectively change that person. And then you very rarely, very hardly even need to think about the person. You'll be high in your consciousness to recognize that you really only need to say something once. I ignored his text for 3 days after hot cold behavior and then told him my boundaries. He's been sweet after but gone quiet. That's okay. Double down on the self-concept. I was, oh my goodness. Oh, brought me to tears last night. I was listening to this live stream that another manifestation coach does. She's like mostly on TikTok, right? And she had successfully and effectively navigated, supported this client into an engagement, right? An engagement. So beautiful. I literally teared up by how this woman was talking about herself. She basically, long story short, the guy was like, never want to see you again. Don't talk to me. Okay. Don't talk to me. Never see me again. Like, I hate you. Right. And then after her working on her self-concept, he was like, "What's she doing? What's she doing? Where's she at? Haven't spoken to her in a while. How come she's not after me? Like, what's going on? What's going on?" And you know what she did? This is what got me. This is literally what got me. She said that she was so anxious, most of her days were spent crying, and then she started focusing on her self-concept and telling herself how amazing she was, and she got fed up. She got fed up, and she was like, "What are you talking about? There is an abundance. The line's out the door to be with me. You kidding? The line's out the door. Get in line. Get in line. I'm in demand. Okay. Hotcakes. Okay." And then you know what happens? He was calling her up and he was like, "Hey, I see that you're in my area. I see that." Okay. Who's stalking who? And he's like, "I see that you're in my area. What's going on? What's popping?" And she was like, "I don't wanna be friends with you." And he's like, "What?" And she's like, "Are you asking me out on a date?" And then he's like, "Yeah, I'm asking you." And she's like, What are your intentions?" Because the line is out the door. This is what I'm trying to tell you. The line is out the door. You either get on the train or you don't. Pookie, okay? And that's exactly how she was. She was like, "I don't have time for this." Where before she used to be like, "Oh, yeah, I'll drive over to see you. I'll fly over to see you. Like, what do you want?" All this stuff, right? And he did not like her. He did not like her. Do you see where I'm going with this? So she was like, "Listen." He called her and he was trying to just see what she's up to, see what she's about. And she told him, "What are you doing? Like, literally, what are you doing? You have 3 days. You have 3 days to figure out what you want. If not, I'm done because we've got options here. And we have people that are, we've got people like proposing in front of my face. Like, ooh, I'm very in demand. So figure it out." And this is the most important thing. This is the most important thing. She meant it. She meant it. She did not care anymore. She was unbothered. I bless you. I want you to have a wonderful life because I'm having a wonderful life. And I'm the life of the party. I'm doing great things over here. And he caught on to that energy. I'm telling you guys, I just felt this so in my being. She was like, now if I ask him, like, I have to be careful about the things that I say because if I ask him to do a handstand, he will do handstands until I say stop. Or like she said that he had like something. I won't use the exact example, but if she's like, um, I'm kind of in the mood for like sushi, or maybe I'm kind of in the mood for like Mexican food, then he will go out and he will like give her options like, "Oh, I'll get you a sushi boat and then I'll also go to the Mexican place and pick up some burrito." Like I will do it. I will do it all at like 2 in the morning. You see what I'm saying? Like she was almost afraid of how powerful she was because if she said something once, then he was all over it. He was all over it. And this is the biggest difference. When you actually mean what you're saying, not the vain repetition, but you're sitting there in the mirror and you say to yourself, "You are incredible." Here's a good thing. Here's if you can't believe it, if you really can't get on board with you actually just saying you are beautiful, you are amazing, you are incredible, then look in the mirror and ask yourself, what does source think about me? What does God think about me? Oof, I feel it in my bones now. I feel it in my bones now just talking about it. If you're actually having issues getting there mentally, then just sit for a second. Just allow yourself to be like, it's okay. How does God feel about me? And oh, I could cry now. I could cry now. It like perfection. You're perfection. You're perfection. And you deserve. She said that by the time he came back into her experience, which by the way, it took her a second. Okay. It wasn't overnight because she had a lot of limitations, which is another thing. We all have our journeys. Don't let anyone tell you that you need to get something within 24 hours or you're doing something wrong. If somebody were to tell me right now that I can go from being a white belt to a black belt in 24 hours, I would question the process. Let's just say that. If somebody were to tell me that I'm going to be pregnant one day and the pregnancy is only going to take me 2 weeks, I'm going to be concerned about that process. So just enjoy it. Like enjoy how the preparation is coming about. Seriously, when you just enjoy it for the sake of enjoying it, then you'll get it. Like it's law. It's law. There's no way you can lose. You can't make a mistake. It's all in perfect timing. It's all in perfect timing and you'll get it. You'll get it. So just cry if you need to. Get angry if you need to. Let the emotion pass through you. And for this woman specifically, I think it took her 10 months or a year, which she said that she could have sped up the process had she, really focused in on her self-concept. But the thing is, this is why it doesn't do any good to beat up on yourself because if you remain in this state of like I could have done it quicker or I should have done it at a different time, what good does that do? It just puts you back into this state of feeling like you're not in control, which is not true. So just take your time. Take your time. Really feel into how you want to experience the world. It's not all going to get done. There's going to be more. Oh, newsflash. Once you're married, you still have to be married. Okay. It's not like you just get married and then it's over with. You get married and you get to spend the rest of your journey with this person if you so choose. Um, be specific, take your time, create yourself, be the person that you want to be, and like have fun. Have fun. SP texted me in 2 different apps on my birthday after telling me he wanted nothing to do with me a month ago. Okay. Okay. I never reached out. Self concept word. Okay. Get it, R. Get it. I love that, Melissa. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm there. That's how I'm feeling. Exactly. And this is why I said double down on it because there's no going back. Okay. We don't, mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. This was something else in the woman's story because she was like, so the guy called her and then she was like, what are your intentions? And he was like, oh yeah, I just want to see what you're doing. And she's like, maybe not, perhaps not. You have 3 days. We're either together or not. And when she hung up the phone, she actually meant it, right? She actually meant it because she actually knew. She actually knew her value. She actually knew her worth. And so him playing around, trying to figure things out, like it's that hard, right? It's not hard. It's not hard. It's not hard. So one thing that I would focus on when it comes to self-concept is I'm clear. I know what I want. I have clarity. Intend for clarity. Because when you're clear, other people are clear. When you're down for yourself, other people are down for yourself. Um, Another thing is like I'm that girl or I'm that man that gets committed to. Just very easy, very easy. There are people running around with self concepts that are like it's very normal to be committed to. Oh, guys don't want to be committed to you after 2 weeks? That's weird. Like there are actually people that have a very normalized life that have a self-concept aligned with it's very easy, it's very normal, it's very chill, it's very relaxed to just be in a relationship. It's not that big of a deal. And that's it. You change how you view yourself, and that will be reflected outward. And if it's something like a generalization, which usually it is. I'll use an example. Like when I was manifesting my own specific person back, I had to change how I felt about myself, but then I also had to change how I viewed that person in particular. So if you need to do that work, do the self concept, right? Do the self concept, and then start assuming something different for the other person. And you can go general with this. So, for example, I just used it before, but like a self concept would be I'm exceptional. I know my value and worth. I'm the most pleasant girlfriend, wife. I'm the most pleasant person to be in a relationship with, right? And then if you need to do the assumption for the outer, then you say um, you can switch this up, men, women, whatever. Men are very kind to me. Men respect me. These are very general, but it encompasses your SP. So, like, if they come back into your life, then you automatically assume that they're a part of that. They're a part of the crowd. Okay. So, uh, men easily commit to me. Men easily, you know, whatever you want. You want like gifts, or you just want to be treated nice. You want to be doted on, whatever that is. You can create those assumptions. So it's me. I treat myself well. I give myself this. I give myself that. It effectively changes them. And then once they come back into your life, or if you want to do this beforehand, you can just say your assumptions about the other person. Say, um, go general if you feel resistance towards it. People treat me this way. Men, women treat me this way. I'm this type of girl that receives this type of commitment, which if you notice, it's still focused on self. So like I'm the type of girl that men feel comfortable around. I'm the type of girl that men easily commit to. I'm the type of, you see what I'm saying? So it's still focused on self. It's just how you feel in relation to that topic once you have got your self concept down. And sometimes you don't even need to do that. Sometimes just focusing on your self concept is enough. But I will just say, when I manifested my ex partner back, I needed to do that because I had a lot of resentment. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I had a resentment, so I had to work through that. Okay, ho'oponopono. How do I manifest a friendship with a guy who blocked me? Mm, okay. I'm taking so much time. I know the answer. I'm thinking of the best way to say it. If somebody has blocked you, then allow them to block you. Bless them. Okay. So even if somebody went out of their way to block you, it's like a lot of energy. Okay. So you can start there because you usually, it's like, why would you go through that much trouble? Focus in on yourself. You, especially for somebody that blocked you, because if somebody blocked me right now in my state of consciousness, I would have no idea if somebody blocked me because I don't go on their page. I just wouldn't even know. So in a scenario like this is why I'm saying to work on your self concept, because if you view yourself, Prashu, I hopefully pronounce that correctly. If you are resonating as somebody who is awesome, who is hot topic, who is a priority, who is important, because you are important. If you are viewing yourself with the self concept of how does source see me? I'm perfection in source's eyes, in God's eyes, that will go away within a day or two. And I'm actually like channeling into your energy specifically. That should go away very quickly. Especially if it's a friendship, and start to think instead of, so if the friendship ended badly, instead of thinking about the resentment or like how things ended, I would start to think of the positive in the friendship. Another thing that, so you can open doors with people. Again, you can feel this energetically. Like when somebody blocks you, they're closing an energetic door. It's like creating a wall, even though we're not separated, we're all connected. But when something like that happens, it's creating like a physical wall or something that we view as like, oh, they don't want to talk to me anymore. But what you can do towards that, that opens the door, is thinking lovingly about them. So stop. I can already feel this now. Stop having mental arguments with the person. Stop having mental arguments with the person and stop justifying yourself to the person in your mind. People do this all the time without realizing it, when they're like talking to somebody in their head and they're like justifying why they did something or justifying the other person's behavior. Stop. Stop. From now on, have mental conversations of the lovely times that you guys had together, and that should shift the energy, and they'll come back. Tell me how that goes. Matthew 6:33, seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things like SP like SP will be given to you as well. Exactly. Um, and his kingdom is your imagination. It's your imagination. I love it. If you go to before you go to bed and you just think what you want to think because nobody is thinking for you. I was thinking about that. I'm like, if I'm not thinking the way that I want to, then who is doing this? Who is doing this? Like, no. If I have not gotten what I want, then what am I doing with my imagination right now? That's a really good question. If you're not thinking about your ideal reality, then what are you thinking about? Because it's all awareness. It's all awareness. I miss our sessions. Hopefully, I'll be able to book again with you soon. Thank you for your response. Of course, Melissa. I hope you're doing well. Oh, I hope you're doing well. And we can chat via email all the time. You can always send me a quick email. I'm struggling with that. Let's see, Britt. Let's see. I'm struggling with that, changing my assumptions about the other person. Yeah. And the biggest misconception is that you don't have control. That is the biggest misconception because, and I get it. I'm like, we're all works in progress. But the most false assumption is that we can't think another thought that's different. Because the momentum, depending on how strong the momentum is, we have two options. We can let it go. We can let the car just roll down, hit the tree at the bottom. Or we can get out ahead of it, which is what Abraham Hicks talks about all the time. You can get out ahead of it, and right before you go to bed, you can choose gentle thoughts that shift you into what you prefer. And then right when you wake up, you can choose gentle thoughts to put you into the state that you prefer. It's not about strangling. It's not about beating your manifestation to the ground until it manifests, because it'll only equate to the vibration that you manifested it on. You might like Hebrews 2:10. It says Jesus is bringing many sons and daughters to glory through his sacrifice on the cross. You know what is so, oh, wait, that reminds me of something. I don't know if y'all are ready. Thank you for the likes, by the way. I appreciate you guys so much. This, I don't know if y'all are ready for this, but the greatest story, Jesus, right? Like the greatest story when Jesus was telling everybody that you can do all these things and more, right? Y'all know how the story went. How he was doing his thing. And then, even though he performed miracles, okay, he was the alchemist, he was the magician, he was doing it all. And then everybody was still like, eh. And then he died on the cross, right? And then he rose. It was like, bet again. It's like, but you don't die. And then he like rose, right? I'm laughing because it's the greatest allegory to what we're doing here. So imagine somebody like Jesus saying that I am God, I'm God. And then everybody's like, how dare you? How dare you think that you have God living in you and that you're able to create your own reality and that you're able to heal people and that you're able to perform miracles? How dare you? And then he's like, but wait, you can do everything. You can do all these things. This is scripture. I'm not even going, not against the grain. And then he's like, okay, but I'm performing all this stuff. I'm performing all this stuff. Watch. And then just and actually don't even tell anyone, okay? Experience this miracle and don't tell anyone, because if you tell someone because of your belief system, you will like not believe. You will not believe in yourself, right? And so he goes through all that and people still are like, we don't believe you. And then he goes to the cross and then, as the story is told, dies for our sins. But in sin, okay, when we look at sin and the original translation of sin, it means missing the mark. That's what it means. It means missing the mark. The manifestation, the emotional, the present, missing the mark, the presence. That's what it means. And that's just from what Abdullah shares and what Neville shares. Um, isn't that the greatest allegory? That now here in this moment, I'm talking, and there are people that whatever life they are living, they see this, they hear my experiences as well as others, and they say, "Oh, it's not possible to rekindle a relationship. It's not possible to manifest things or to create healing or to create or to manifest for others, to want the best for others and to see that manifest for others." That's the greatest story. It gives me chills. Like it's all a manifestation. And then to die and realize that we never, this was all an illusion anyway. This is all an illusion. Um, which if you guys haven't seen the time where I channeled the essence of Jesus, oh, it is, I'm taking off my shoes right now. It is the most exhilarating feeling I've ever felt in my life. And I think if everybody knew how exceptional and like how powerful this feeling of love is that Jesus has, and like just God's God's love is, it made me feel like my body was going to explode. That's how I felt. I felt like I couldn't contain the amount of love that I like. I couldn't contain it. I could not contain the amount of love that he was giving me. And he told me, he was like, I'm going to put it to not even 1%. And he like turned on this dial just a little bit. And it was so vivid that I didn't want to come back. And I know that that's what a lot of people have experienced, like near death experience people. They say the same thing. They're like, "Ooh, I didn't even want to come back because it was really nice. It was really nice over there." Is there a difference with living in imagination and limerence? Let me educate myself. Okay. Limerence. I'm looking at the definition of being obsessively infatuated with someone. Okay. I haven't used the word limerence in a really long time, so thank you for the vocab, like expanding me. Okay, period. Um, So, living in imagination and limerence, it is whatever you make of it. Sometimes we have to see where, which sometimes you can't even see. Sometimes you'll need like a third party, or even like as a coach, I can easily be able to sense the energy of where you're at and like where the intention is coming from. But like with limerence, you're infatuated, right? Sometimes we become infatuated and obsessed with things that we believe we cannot have. That desire goes away when we have it, right? This is how things manifest in our reality because we believe that we have it and we're not worried about it. It's just an absence of resistance will make it appear. So I think that living in imagination, when you feel it to be real, both emotionally and feel it, you feel your senses, you go in there internally and start like there's a house on my vision board, right? And I went into the house 2 months ago. I was in New Jersey and I the layout is the exact same. Now, what even brought me into that house? It's because I actually went there in my imagination and felt the couch and I felt the layout. I felt the flooring. I felt how cold it was, how the tile was underneath my feet. I smelled the new paint in the house. I felt the sense of warmth and comfortability. And I experienced it 2 months ago. And I've been visualizing this for like a couple months now. This was the vision board that I have for 2023. And I would say that imagination, when you visualize properly, it is so different than limerence because you're not thinking of it, you're thinking from it. So thinking of something is like kind of like daydreaming, and with daydreaming is cool too. When you're thinking of something, you're like, "Oh, I wonder how this is. I wonder how that is." When you're thinking from something, then you're there. You're there, and it will almost shock you when you open your eyes and aren't there. That's the biggest difference. I'm perfection in God's eyes. Yes, you are. This is a very nice advice. Thank you. I may not believe I'm worthy, but I definitely know God loves me. Exactly. So if God loves me, I must be worth exactly. Exactly. Sometimes it may feel egotistical to think that you're everything, right? Like to be like, "Oh, you get the point." But if you start to ask yourself how source sees you, you can't argue. You can't argue. Oh, you can't even argue with it. It's like, "Oh gosh, fine, I'm worthy, all right." Jeez, why you flirting with me? Like, I'm okay, I'm amazing. You always make me feel my best free. Oh, thank you, Sofu. Your teachings are so insightful and full of love. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and you should thank yourself because God knows I've been on here for 2 hours. So it's all you. It's really I'm mirroring you and we're mirroring each other. Yes, the crucifixion resurrection story is a metaphor for us, and we also take it literally because it helps us realize we are God and have been all this time. You know what, I was thinking about the other day? I kinda had, like, an epiphany, right? And you know how it's the 3 in 1, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and I was thinking about the Bible and how, yes, it is allegorical, which is in the sense of Neville Goddard, but it is also literal, which just makes it more groundbreaking because, well, that's how it's taught in the Western world. That's how we get our information with the Bible and how people literally think about man and women, how people literally think about, ooh, remember in the Old Testament when they were like, don't shave? Like, you know what I mean? Like, have the full beard, have the full every, like, there's so many things that contradict in the Bible. Okay. It's very obvious. And if you look at it in just a literal sense, then it won't make sense. So there needs to be this 3 in 1 approach where you look at it in an allegorical sense, you look at it in a physical sense, and then what would be the other one? I don't know. But if you think of it, let me know. There's gotta be like, there's more to it. It's completely coded. It's coded, but then it's also altered, so, yeah. Jesus knew what was up for real. I know that's right. I had that experience too when I was singing. I had a tingling sensation all over. It was on 10/20/2003. That's so amazing. I love that. Yeah. God told me that our ultimate goal in life to is to love others just as much as God loves us. Yes, in my dream. Perfect. Perfectly said. Perfectly said. And yes, at times it might be easier to say it than to do it, but that's the whole point of us experiencing this. That's the whole point. Um, we wouldn't even have like when Bashar talks and when Abraham Hicks talks, it's there's no resistance. There's no resistance, there's no contrast, there's no experience. It's just all it's, it's not it's boring. It's boring. We came here for the plot. We came here for the thickening of the plot, for the drama, you know. Also, before I go, I oh my gosh, wait, sorry. I did not mean to scream, but I was just about to talk. You're gonna make me kick my feet. I'm giggling. My feet are swinging. Oh my god. I was gonna talk about soul. Oh my god. Segue. The perfect segue. Literally. We're here. Okay. In soul. I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm not gonna spoil it. Okay? I'm not gonna spoil it, but I'm gonna tell you just a little bit. Just if I could. It's my favorite movie of all time. Like you can't even convince me that any other movie exists that is better than this movie. I'm so for real. And in this movie, there's a soul who doesn't want to come to Earth. And what I love about the soul that doesn't want to come to Earth is that it's like everything's just like so heavy. Like everything is just like it's always complaining, right? It's always saying that it's like not going to be fun on Earth and that it's like people are just trying to destroy each other, which is facts. And how it's just like there's just so many things going on and then it actually experiences life on earth and it's like whoa, it's actually kind of cool. But one thing that the soul experiences before it goes into the body is like their spark. So it talks about a spark. And one of my favorite parts of the movie, I love the whole movie. I know it verbatim. I love the movie Soul. And like I wish I could be a part if they make it two. If they make it two, oh my god, I would lose my mind. I wanna be a part of the project, is what I'm trying to say, okay? Like, this is something that I wanna talk about forever. There is there is this part where they get to find out what their spark is, so they get to try out all these different, like, activities, and the soul is talking to one of the humans saying that, like, you can't taste food here in this realm. You can't taste food, you can't, um you can't feel pain. You can like slap people all over the place. Like there's just like all these different senses that you don't feel. So you can be anywhere. You can talk however you want to talk. You can look however you want to look. And it's just boring up there, right? But then when you come down to the earth, it's like you can experience all these different things. And our senses, what we feel, is the most exhilarating thing ever. Because when you get to start to experience the senses, that's what creates the tones of reality. And it's it's perfection. I just love that movie so much. It tells you everything that you need to know. Also, I will say something. If you haven't seen the movie Soul, then go ahead and watch that. There's one part that I want to say in the movie. I'm just going to say it now because it's not really like a spoiler, but I'm going to say it in a way that it doesn't spoil. But they use cats instead of dogs, which I'm not going to go any further on the plot. but they use cats. And that is not by coincidence. They use cats because cats easily like dogs do see the other realm, but cats, their veil is way thinner, way thinner. And I'll share with you guys another dream, and then I'm gonna get off because I've had too much fun. There's so much fun. So I had this dream, and I it was a nightmare actually. Okay, period. It was a nightmare, and it had to do with the grays or like something close to that. Like it was in that type of realm. So I don't want to say that I was abducted or anything, but I definitely like now I'm thinking about it and I'm getting a headache. I'm literally touching my temples right now. Wow, that's crazy. So I had this nightmare and I woke up from the nightmare. Willow went on my chest and started purring because she's like a healer queen. Okay. She was like purring and the vibration was soothing me. I just love her so much. And then she starts staring at like whatever she was looking for or looking at is in the corner. Okay. I'm not freaking anybody out. It's just I was freaked out just a little bit when it happened, but then I'm also like I know what's going on. I just can't see it. It's the fact that I can't see it and she can that makes me freaked out, but I know that it's all around cuz she does this all the time. Like she's always looking at things that I can't see. So, she's like staring at this thing and just imagine she's just like it's probably 3:30. It usually is around 3 o'clock when this happens. So she's purring on my chest and she's looking at the corner and she's like and she's sifting her eyes looking at it and it looks pretty tall, like pretty big from what she's so dialed in. Like she's dialed in, she's purring, she's looking at it and she won't stop looking at it, which is why I got freaked out because I'm like, and it felt heavy. It felt like a shadowy thing situation, which is why I think it. I don't know if it was the grays, but I just know that the nightmare was like very intense, which I'm not going to repeat because I'm already getting a headache. But yeah, cats are so she's so good at it. Like she's so good at being a cat. She's so smart. And I'm going back to the movie because oh, wait, hold on. Because I was on TikTok the other day and there was a animal whisperer and they were saying how cats, like let's say two cats are living together and one of them passes away, the other cat will still be able to see the cat that passed away. Like they will still hang out with it. It's almost as if it's still alive. Like they know that it's passed on, but like not really because it's still in their reality. So that's how thin the veil is. Like that resonated with me a lot because I see that she looks around a lot and I see that she can see things that I don't see. And I actually love that for her. I don't want that for me. I don't prefer it. And if I ever decide to intend that, then that's a different story. But right now we're cool in the 3D. And she just like, I know how thin it is for her. So it always like, I always remind myself that she has that ability and she's just so good. OMG, my cat and I experienced a weird sound and object that disappeared together once. Chills. For sure, cats are sensitive. Okay, I'm getting Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess it's fitting. Yesterday was Halloween, so but yeah, cats are like they're so awesome. I just love them so much. Oh, I'm back and we're at the dream part. Hey. Yeah, I'm telling all my dreams. I'm telling all my business. I heard cats could be a physical reverberation of spirit guides, so that would make sense because my life 180'd when she came into my life. Short story, my dad is allergic to cats, and when I first got her, which was 4 years ago, I took her home. I took her home. I was like, "This cat's gotta go home with me." It was through the cat distribution system that everybody talks about. She found me, And the owner, like because I was working, I was literally working. She found me. She was like in a basement in a warehouse. And then they were like, we can't take this cat. The owner's wife had bought a whole bunch of stuff like food, shelter, all of this. So the cat's not going anywhere because it's like being fed. And then the owner was like, we're not keeping it. We're not taking it home. So whoever wants it, they can have it. And we'll pay for its shots. Like we'll pay for everything. And I didn't want it. I was like, I've never dealt with cats before. I've only lived with dogs all my life. And then I went down there because they were like, she has white paws. And I was like, okay, let me just take a look. Let me just take a look. So I went down there and saw her beautiful white paws and I took her home. I was like, it's done. I don't even, there's nothing else that we really need to talk about. She's coming home with me. And at the time, I did not tell my parents. So imagine you're a parent and your child comes home with, well, adult child, whatever. Your child comes home with a cat that you're allergic to. And so he was like, no. And I was like, it's fine. I'm gonna have the cat and I'm gonna move out. And so I did. I literally moved out because of this beautiful thing. And because I knew that it was gonna be okay. And like there's a whole series of things where I had asked my spirit guides. I know for sure my grandfather watches over me. Um, I was like, I'm looking at new apartments, and I had an apartment on my vision board, which was exactly what I got to the T. I was like, Grandfather, I really need the money to move into this new segment of my life. I want to live on my own in this apartment. And he was like, look in the vault. I got this inspiration, this idea to look into this vault that my dad has. I opened the vault, and there's money that my grandfather gave to me, which was the amount that I needed for the apartment. Crazy, right? So there was like so many things that happened to me that led me into just living the way that I do, and having Willow, she definitely changed my life. And now we're back here at the house, at my parents' house. But she's so cool. She doesn't go anywhere. She just like hangs out and she sleeps. She doesn't really do anything. She's like just a kitty. So yeah, she's awesome. I was crying about my cat Inga that passed away earlier today. Oh no. Wow. And I had a dream about her and cats in 2019 that led me to learning more about law of attraction. Wow. Well, I'm sorry for your loss. Ugh, yeah, losing animals is like it's just as strong as losing a person. Like it's really just a part of your consciousness, and especially like a cat that you resonate with or an animal that you resonate with. I remember when I lost I remember when I lost my dog Coco when I was younger. It was like probably when I was like 14 or 15, and I lost the greatest dog that has ever existed in all of mankind. He was a golden retriever, but he was a red toned golden retriever. He was so amazing. And his name was Coco. And when we lost him, it was like losing a family member for sure. So my condolences to you. Oh, I keep seeing a golden retriever in my dreams. That's so loving and helpful. Wow. I wonder if I'm going to manifest that. Maybe. Yeah. I would definitely keep that in your heart. Even hits stronger low key. Yeah, when you see how like everything is working out for you, and then you look back on how everything is working out for you, it just, oh my goodness, I get chills. It's just yeah, she was my baby. It's tough. I'll be praying for you, Ray. Okay. I think I have exhausted all of what I want to say, especially in this video. We went way beyond. We went way beyond the dream of the rapture. But thank you for watching, and thank you for asking your questions and for being with me. This live is not the same without you guys at all. It is quite lonely. So thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for everyone who has commented, and then everyone who's just viewed and not commented. I appreciate every single one of you guys. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, November 1st. We're in November already, guys. Wild. Have a wonderful rest of your week. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Love you.